Hi guys, what's up? It's Jacqi Vena. I play Joan from Fear Street. I'm here on Pop Culture with Pat. And remember, shady ciders always do it better.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. So today we are headed to Fear Street today with fan favorite Shady Side Camp Counselor Joan from Fear Street Part 2, played by Jacqi Vena. And I'm really excited to talk to you, have you on the show today, Jacqi. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Now, it's crazy. I actually wasn't from I didn't read the books like growing up as a kid. I was more of like a Goosebumps guy, so I think Fear Street was like a little bit older for me at the time. But I was excited because I'm a big R.L. Stine fan because that was a big part of like my childhood. So when I saw, Fear Street was announced and they were doing like this trilogy, I was really excited for it. I didn't think it was going to take off the way that it has. What has been like just like I guess like the reaction for you since, the films like come out?
The reaction has been amazing. It's been honestly very surprising, and I've been taken definitely aback by it, especially because, I wouldn't call myself a lead in the films. So, it's been just so surprising how many people have noticed and reached out to me and little fan pages. I I did not know that this was going to be as big as it is. We shot it a while ago, so honestly I forgot everything that I had done in it, and I was just like, I know that I have a sex scene and I'm so nervous.
Yeah,
I just remember being super nervous. Yeah.
yeah, no, I can totally understand, but I mean, I'm glad that from what I've seen, it's pretty much been universally like loved. So it's definitely been a big hit. I think not only with the fans of like the people who read the books and stuff that grew up, but I think it's also been able to capture like the audience of people, like bringing in like new fans to it as well. So
Totally.
to you're in Fear Street Part 2, 1978. What was the audition process like for your character, and did you audition for any other characters that you remember when going for this role?
This audition was so funny to me because, I've been acting for 6 or 7 years now in film for in LA. And this audition I filmed very quickly, not crazily intensely. It was a very short scene that they had me film for Joan, and they didn't explain what the project was. They just kind of sent it out, and I filmed it really quick because it was a fast turnover. And I didn't hear back for probably 3 months.
Oh
And
wow.
then I heard nothing. I didn't hear anything. And then I got a call saying, "Hey, they want to fly you out tomorrow." And I
Wow.
was like no callback, nothing. It was a very unique audition and situation where I was like, wow, cool. Okay.
Now, were you familiar with Fear Street, the books like at all going into this film, or was this kind of like a completely new world, for you? And did you, if it was something new, did you end up reading any of the books to prepare like for the role at all?
Um, I had never heard of Fear Street before. Actually, I might have. I know that I knew that they were filming them because my friend Jeremy had booked a part in it. Well, yeah, Jeremy booked them because we were working on a play together in LA, and like probably 4 or 5 months prior, he was like, "Sorry guys, I can't do the play anymore. I'm gonna go be a movie star." And we were like, "Okay, you suck," and he left. And then, I knew Fear Street was happening, and it was done by Fox, and it was gonna be cool thing, and um I knew a little bit about it, but that was it. I hadn't read the books, and because I had such a fast turnover for the audition and getting cast and going from not knowing I had the part to, hey, you're going to be filming these scenes in the next 5 or 6 days, I did not have time to read Fear Street.
Oh, wow.
But I did have time to do a lot of like research on the books and the fan base and figure out its general aura and like odd feel. But honestly, I don't even know if that was the most, I don't want to sound ignorant or arrogant, but it wasn't as important for Joan, because if you watch it, Joan is kind of like sticks out of the whole thing. Her vibe, kind of with Michael's character, Kurt. but not as much. But Joan is just kind of like the oddball out. I think that's why she's gotten so much attention, is because she just is the one that doesn't really fit in the space. She's in her own world. The vibe does not affect her. She's just like good, like I'm doing my thing, I'm gonna smoke some weed, and like he's hot.
Well, so that's crazy. I mean, because I don't think, for people that I've had on the show, I don't think I've had anyone where it's like they've had such a quick like turnaround. Like usually, like you kind of mentioned, it is kind of a back and forth. Like, oh, like get a call back. You might go back like a couple times, whatever. They were just like, hey, yeah, you got like the part. Come on down, and you're gonna be like
Yeah.
shooting like the next week.
Yeah, they casted me right off my tape from months ago. Yeah, it was super fast. And I remember getting to set, and Emily and McCabe, they're all like, wow, finally, we have a Joan. We've been talking to Lee about when we're getting a Joan, and finally it's happened. Like we haven't known for so long. And yeah, I guess it was just one of those things. I don't know what happened. It was just fast.
Yeah, it was just kind of like a whirlwind of of like events. That's pretty wild, and I could understand. Yeah, you didn't have the time to really dig into any of the books with all that kind of happening. Now Fear Street, it does have like a dedicated fan base as far as like the book series goes. Now is that more challenging as an actor going into a role where the anticipation is so high because you had that dedicated fan base compared to, let's say, if you're going in, if you have like another project where it doesn't necessarily have that built-in fan base and you can play around with like the character and story a little bit more, like is that more challenging going into something like this?
I think for sure it would be way more challenging to be going into something with an automatic fan base, no matter what you're doing. Um,
Because they kind of have the expectations of like, oh, this is like what we want to see, like even if it's not necessarily, because I know some of the characters, I don't like, not everyone's from the books, but you have like those expectations. The fans are like, hey, this is kind of like my idea of what I'm expecting with these movies.
yeah, I mean, for sure, for sure. I think that you definitely hit the nail on the head, that these people want to see something specific, and it's hard with books because they're so, you know, there's so many ways they can be imagined. It's with any fan base to any book. Like each beauty is in the eye of the beholder to every single reader, and they're all just trying to wanting to see their imagination play out to the best that it possibly can. And sometimes you're going to be pleased and sometimes you're going to be not pleased. But the cool character about Joan was she was written really playfully and fun, and so I didn't really feel like I had to uh, live up to this specific expectation. I felt like she was super relaxed, her character, and I
Very
felt like everyone could see her that way. I don't know. I just felt comfortable in it.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's like I said, yeah. Sometimes going into like some of these roles where it's like they have the fan base, you're like, oh, like
Yeah.
I could see people being like, I don't want to let the fans down. Like I want to deliver like what they're expecting. But it's good that Joan was a really fun, relaxed character, so you were kind of just able to slide into that fairly
Yeah,
well.
I just totally slid into it, and I didn't have as much I didn't have as hard as work as some of these other characters that really did lead the movie, and the director and Lee and sound and like all this stuff is so much more of a struggle than I went through and trying to fit in. I felt really, and when I went in there on the second movie, they were almost done. I was just filming my scenes, and yeah, I felt like they had already this huge working machine, if
Yeah.
you know what I mean. It was already in motion, and I just kind of fit right in as like a little gear, and I was like, okay, here I am.
Yeah.
I didn't have as much to do. They were already doing it for me.
Yeah. No, that must be, and I know that's especially with like a TV series like actors. I know sometimes that can be challenging, like coming into a show, whether it's like the third or second, third, fourth season or whatever, and like you already have like this established, family as far as like, the production team and everything goes. So being able to just kind of come in, do your thing and just like fit in like easily. I'm glad that yeah, that was pretty, it sounds like pretty, easy as far as like that part goes for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, where did you draw inspiration from as far as, bringing the character of Joan to life?
Ooh, you know, I found it within the script because I thought it was written really well. I didn't add much or take much away in terms of what I said at all. I don't think. So I think it was just written perfectly. And honestly, my sister had texted me when she saw the movie and was like, she said one of my lines, which was like, we'll go out there and do our best. And she quoted it and she's like, you weren't acting, you were just playing yourself. So there's, I think that I also just got lucky for the part that I got because it was one of those particular parts that I just had fun with. And it was kind of just an extension of myself, a close piece of myself. I'm very hippie, I'm very spiritual. So I wasn't like stretch. I was just wanting to have fun. And I was like on cloud nine, just so happy to be there. So it all just kind of came out in the outfit. I drew a lot of inspiration when I got dressed in my clothes and I was running around barefoot and I was just in the time zone. I was in the set was all done in 70s, just falling into those pieces of sight and sound music. I remember listening to 70s music in my trailer. And I got to roll my own joints in the trailer. I was like, hey, can I, not real weed, but we're gonna roll the joints. And they're like, yeah. And so I was sitting there rolling a bunch of joints in the trailer because I had to roll one on camera for one of the scenes. I don't know if they have it in there, but
Yeah. Nope.
and
They
it was yeah, and I'm like rolling it and I had to do it and it's hard to do it with under like I think a minute is what it was, like to do it um it can be tricky. You have to definitely just have muscle memory. So I was like, I need to practice.
That's
But
awesome.
all those pieces were just inspirational for me to like come to life in this character.
And I was going to ask you like how much of this character, how much do you see of yourself like in the character of Joan, and like how are you guys different? But you kind of you answered it basically a little bit like right there. It sounds like you do
Yeah.
have some similarities with like the character of Joan.
Yes, for sure. I do have a lot of similarities to Joan, and I'll hold it dear forever. I wish I could just have B-roll of me being Joan, you know?
There you go.
That'd be amazing.
And Fear Street Part Two. And obviously, we were just kind of talking about it. It takes place like in the '70s. What was it like to visit that decade, and what was your favorite part about like the '70s? I guess overall.
Ooh. Well, I wasn't there really there for any of the politics and the social, economical things happening during the time, which definitely shape how you enjoy a time period.
Mhm.
I would think it's not just about the clothes and the music, even though that's a big part, but the thing I loved the most, I would say, was the vibe that I got to be in, which was kind of more carefree, and I got to play that kind of stereotypical hippie that is definitely birthed from the 60s, and I got to do that with the bell-bottom jeans and, kind of a shirt like this actually
Yeah.
that was off shoulder and I would say the music and the clothes.
Yeah, the I mean the soundtrack for both, more
Oh my god, the soundtrack's so good.
yeah, I was especially watching, I mean like I love the soundtrack for part 1 like 1994, but part 2 listening to that, it was just like song after song. I was just like, wow, like this song's in there, like Carry On My Wayward Son's in
I
there.
loved that when they played Carry On My Wayward and I was like, yes.
Yeah, because I don't know if you watch like Supernatural at all, but like I watched a good chunk of it. I still need to finish some of it, but that was like they played that song at the end of every season, so it just like instantly think
Really?
Supernatural. But so I thought that was really cool that that song showed up like in the film.
I just think it's an epic song. And when I watched it with my friend at the premiere, and I just kept whispering over to her, "This soundtrack, holy shit! Like no way!" It's one of my favorite things. It makes or breaks a movie for me sometimes.
Yeah, no, it definitely plays like a big role, like the soundtrack. And from what I've seen too, I've seen a lot of people. They're like, wow, yeah, like the soundtrack for these films has been like top notch. So whoever picked the music, I'm sure like Lee had like a hand in it, but whoever like picked the music, they did a great job, like as far as like that goes.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Now, I wanted to, so I actually saw this, was it yesterday, I believe, or maybe it was like the day before, but I saw that you had mentioned there was a hilarious story of how you and Michael got comfortable with each other for your guys' scene in the cabin. What's the story behind that?
Okay, so I had flown to Atlanta and I think I had one down night or maybe two down nights before we were gonna go shoot. And I was still doing wardrobe fittings and all this stuff in between there. But we had one free night where I had gotten Michael's number because we were gonna be doing this scene together and it's intimate. And we're texting. He's in Atlanta, obviously. And then we I think we're in the same hotel, and Drew, who plays what's his character's name? He plays the guy who gets his head cut off and
Yeah,
he's super his name is Drew, and
yeah.
um he is the most sweet, adorable, funny person ever. Same with Michael, who plays Kurt. And so Drew's like, okay, guys, let's get together. And Michael and I were very awkward with each other because we're like, this is awkward.
Yeah.
And because like I was gonna be naked in it and he was gonna be basically naked. So it's just kind of, weird when you haven't met somebody. But it's okay, we're professionals, we're actors, we live for this. But to be nice and make us familiar with each other, Drew was like, okay, guys, let's do something, let's warm each other up. And we're like, okay. So Drew takes us to this like really janky strip club in Atlanta, and we go at night and we're like just three awkward kids basically going into this strip club in Atlanta, and it's just dead. No one's really there except these like older women who don't really want to be stripping. You can tell like stripping is great. Who cares? Go strip. But you could tell they were just tired and like over it. And then we're like, this is so weird. And then Drew decides to buy us all lap dances. So these ladies come over and just start slapping, literally slapping their titties on Michael's face, like putting his face in there and slapping it. And I never met either of them. And we're all just sitting there like, what the? And then the lady comes up to me, starts slapping her titties on my face, like hard, like not gentle, not sexy. I was just like, oh my God. And then she did it to Drew. And we all just like sat there stunned after it happened. Like,
What just happened?
and yeah, and we were just laughing. We just started laughing, and it honestly bonded us so well. And we just like ran around Atlanta for the rest of the night. It was great.
That's a excellent story. I'm glad that I was like, yeah, I saw you post about that, and I was like, wanted to see if if you were like okay with with me like asking about that. But
Yeah.
that's a great story, and I could see how it bonded you guys together, because it's like you said, you're going in there, don't really know each other, and it's like what a better way to bond each other more than going to like a strip club.
I'd never been to a strip club either.
Also, that was the
So
first
it was my first time, and it was
an experience.
an experience. It was awesome though. I'll remember it forever.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for that. And so right shortly like after that, like happens that scene, you have a pretty brutal death scene, that happens like right afterwards. You take like an axe to the face, and I was with the Fear Street like trilogy, going into it, I knew it was like rated R. So I was like, okay, we're definitely gonna see some like blood and stuff like that. But I guess actually watching the films and seeing some of the deaths, that happened to these different characters, and like how, Tommy was like, he took like the axe and was just like smack, smack. I was like, wow, like this is a lot more violent than I was, expecting with this. Can you just kind of walk through, like filming that scene, and what was your initial reaction when you saw that like in the script, like that you were gonna get an axe to the face?
I didn't think much of it when I saw it in the script, besides like, oh, okay, I'm the girl that's gonna get killed in the horror movie who has sex. Like there's always one of those girls.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, that's me. I'm fine with that. Um but I was very surprised watching Fear Street 1 how fast and brutal they kill some of the your mains, you know, like the
Yeah.
people you're rooting for. You're like, no, holy shit, they jar heads through a bread cutter. Like
Yeah.
it's and filming that was with McCabe, who's also just the sweetest guy ever. Um, he's he's super, you know, dedicated actor, and we were doing it, and at one point I had my hand in the wrong place, and it's an axe, it's rubber, but it's still hard.
Yeah.
um, he came down and like whacked the shit out of my arm, and
Oh,
everyone was like, oh, and I was like, ah, okay, shake it off, and he felt so bad. But it can be tricky to film sometimes, but you know, movie magic.
yeah.
um, but yeah, definitely a lot of the movements are real hard and fast. So
What
gotta
about
be careful.
yeah, no, no, for sure. I can imagine with that. Did you have like a pretty good like bruise or like anything like after
I
that?
think I may have had a little bruise. It wasn't that big of a deal. It was more just like your adrenaline's going and you're kind of like already freaked out and you're just in it and you're like, I was just upset I messed up, you know?
Yeah. No.
Like as an actor, you're like, damn, that was my fault. I'm pretty sure that was my fault. But McKay probably thought it was his, you know,
Yeah.
we just want to make it smooth for everyone. So I was just mostly upset because I didn't do it perfect. But
What about the because like I said, you get hit like a couple times. What about the like the prosthetics? Like what was like the makeup and stuff as far as like the blood goes? Was that like a pretty intense like process or
no, I think mine was pretty simple compared to other people's. Drew got his whole head made, like
yeah.
remade. He's sick, and I wish that could have happened to me, but no. Um, Mine was pretty simple. It was just some blood splattering, and I didn't have any prosthetics or anything like that.
Oh, okay. So it was pretty simple. Yeah, I was gonna say with Drew, do you know if he ended up keeping his prosthetic head?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if he.
I
I
don't know if
don't.
I let him, but you should ask him.
I should ask him.
I feel like it's one of those things. It's like how many times are you gonna be in a movie and get your head?
There can't be many.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he was in Halloween. He was in Halloween 2018. Didn't get his head chopped off, but he did get put through like a fence or what.
That's a good point. If anyone would have it multiple times in their career, like a many times, it'd be Drew.
True. Yeah. Now, as I know, as a fan, watching these films, I had a lot of fun. Like watching it, and from what I can see, it looks like you guys had a blast. Filming this thing. Can you just talk a little bit about like your overall experience? I know you said you weren't on like the set for like a very long time, but just your overall experience on the set and what are some of your favorite moments?
Oh, it was magical. I loved it. I loved every bit of it. I loved the location we were at, the Shady, the camp. Um, it was awesome. I loved my favorite part about it. The bonding with castmates is pretty special. So like that night with Drew and Michael was pretty special and hard to tap. Even just like riding to lunch and stuff with the other actors and just getting to know everyone is pretty cool. Because you're just talking community wise, right? Like what we liked about that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just like being on set, or like if I know you already mentioned, obviously we had the one story with you guys, going to like the strip club. But if there was like any other, behind the scene moments where like I don't know, stories or jokes or things like that, just like overall. But I mean that itself was a pretty good story. So if you don't have any others, that's definitely good, right there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I know that I actually did have one that I was reminded of when I was talking about something else.
And what about because you kind of mentioned, being just like in like the camp setting, what was it like being? Because this someone I think I saw it today. It wasn't the exact location because I saw it going around online that it was like, oh, it was the same place that I think it was like Friday the 13th Part 6 was like filmed at, but someone said that it wasn't. So what was just I guess like the overall vibe of being at like a summer camp and filming a movie that all took place on like a camp?
It was really cool. It was cool because there was a lot of children actors hired for the camp.
Yeah,
So that made it very realistic. And
yeah,
I love working with kids. I love working with audiences growing up in theater. So when I came when we were doing our speeches in the movie where I go up and I'm like, we're all just gonna have fun or whatever the hell I say.
The,
There was actually like this audience of children campers that I'm speaking to, and they're like so supportive and so adorable, and it made acting so much easier because you get to react to people and you get to try and draw reactions from the kids, and it just made it realistic and it was awesome.
that sounds like it would be fun. And speaking of the kids, that was in kind of time to what we were just like talking about. I was surprised that like kids actually like because you guys you're a little bit older, you're like like young adult like teenagers,
Mhm.
but like I was surprised that some of the kids like actually got like hacked up in the movie. I was like, you don't see that usually happen with
Oh, I know. I was like, what the hell?
like felt like I felt bad for especially like the kids. It's like
Oh
yeah,
my god, the character who I loved, who was a shady cider, of course, and with the glasses
the
and the
glasses.
nerve. That
Yes.
one really got to me. I was like, no way, you're gonna kill him? Really? I remember watching it with my friend, and he was like, why wouldn't they kill the kids that were being assholes? Why did they have to kill him? He
Yeah.
was so sweet.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I thought that's maybe where you were going, but yeah, that character specifically, when I was like, no, like come on, like this
No,
guy
I know.
is
You're like,
horrible. Yeah, so
yeah.
that was pretty that was shocking. I'd say that was like one of the most like shocking aspects of it, just like because you don't usually movies like horror movies they a lot of times tend to like shy away from kids and like for good good reason. So I was just like that caught me off guard, for sure. So just kind of
Well, Lee is Lee. I think she's just like so quirky and like you can just see her presence through all the movies. And I love how she does not hold back or like with the deaths or anything. She and I love that she did that because she captured this essence of Fear Street where it's kind of real deal.
yeah.
Like it's real talk. It's we're gonna kill this really cute kid and she loves it and you can just tell, and that's what makes the movie so special. So I'm pretty sure that's Lee's touch.
And what was, kind of, I was going to ask you about what was just like, your overall experience like working with Lee. Did she, well, I know in this case, like you said, you didn't have a lot of time to really, prepare going into it, but I was going to say, did she have you guys watch any like horror movies or anything like that going into it?
Not me. I might have been a special case.
Yeah.
Um, and honestly, we didn't get to talk. We we briefly talked. We didn't get to talk that much. She's like the sweetest woman ever, and she's super hardworking, and she's a fucking boss lady. She's busy,
Yeah.
busy on set. Um, so I didn't have the privy to really sit down and rehearse a lot or talk to her. I just kind of did my own thing and hoped it was what she would like. And I just had to trust the fact that, she casted me and I had to, trust that and go for it.
Yeah. No, it seems like, like you were kind of saying, I think she was able to not only capture the essence of Fear Street and like the books, but I think she did a really good job too, paying tribute to a lot of like the horror films from these different decades. Like I know with part one with the '90s, I know like you weren't in like that film, but like there was like two specific Scream references where I was just like, that's like one of my favorite horror movies, and I was like, wow, that is awesome. And then obviously with your film '78, a lot of like Friday the 13th,
Hmm.
burning vibes. So I think she did a really good job of paying tribute to to those like different like horror films and stuff like as well.
Yeah, fantastic. And I'm so excited to see 1666. I haven't seen it yet, the third one,
I
but that one might be my favorite
Yeah,
because I am a witch at heart. So
we got ourselves a Sarah Fier on our hands right here.
I'm a good witch.
I actually got a chance to, so I won't say anything to you, but I got a chance to watch 1666 last night.
Yay.
So I got a sneak preview of it. I did.
How was it?
It was interesting because it had like a vibe of kind of like I don't know if you ever saw The Witch with like Anya Taylor Joy that came out like several years ago now, but it had that vibe because you visit like the 1600s. but then it kind of wraps up and you go back to like the to like 1994. So it was weird. It was almost like split into two parts, like this
Right.
three as well. So I
I
wasn't.
was thinking it has to be that way to make sense.
Yeah. So, but no, it was definitely, I think she did a good job, wrapping everything like up. You had a lot of like different seeds and stuff that were planted throughout like the other, part two and then part one. And she did a good job of tying things up. And I said this in my non spoiler like review. I won't go into like details, but I'm interested to see what they do with Fear Street going forward because I think they kind of leave the door open for some
Of
possibility.
course they do. Of course they do.
So like hopefully we get some, I don't know if it'll be like movies or if they do like a TV show or something, but I think that'll be fun and hopefully it'd be fun if we get to get Lee back to maybe do, some of those like as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but it really seems like people are liking it. So
Oh yeah.
usually if they create a solid fan base, and the series not completely done, I think they usually try to find a way to bring it back.
Yeah, no, I think for sure with how from what I've seen, like the reaction, you talked about like the reaction's been great for you. I think there's probably a pretty good chance that we'll see, some more Fear Street down the line, like for sure.
Yeah.
Now, going into Fear Street, did you or do you like consider yourself like a horror fan, or is this kind of like a new like genre, like going into this, like filming this movie?
There's kind of like a difference between horror and like the thriller intensity stuff, which, or I'm not sure what I'm meaning to say, but I do not enjoy like actually scary movies. I
Yeah,
mean, I do sometimes, but like The Ring or like The Grudge, that
yeah,
they're not as like gory, but they're psychologically really scary.
yep,
Those I'm like, I don't need to see those all the time. Once in a while, maybe on Halloween or something.
yeah,
Uh, but this isn't as like psychologically terrifying as it is just interesting
yeah,
and really badass, and I like that. I could wait, I could do that all day. But I don't care about gore. I don't get squeamish. When I saw my own death, I was sitting there with my friend who was such a baby. I love her, but she's such a baby. And she's sitting there. I've known her since high school. And she's sitting there like this at the premiere, like with scrunched up her knees. And she's just like hyperventilating. And I'm just sitting there like, I'm like eating popcorn, drinking a beer. I like I'm not as scared like that.
yeah. No, that's funny. So okay, so yeah, you don't like the super creepy like stuff, but you
I
do
can
like.
watch it. I don't get as scared. No.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. And kind of starting to like wrap things up. But something else that I saw that you shared, which I actually didn't think about like initially, was it was a fan theory that someone said that you were like the aunt of Kate, like in the first like
Okay.
movie, which
Yeah, I'm getting that so 5, 10 times a day at least of people being like, no, at least like there's more than that, but and it's so cool to me
oh yeah,
that people care enough to do that and really think about it. And honestly, it's a brilliant theory and I love it. Um, I haven't confirmed with Lee about that.
I was gonna say
So
you check it out.
honestly, I
Yeah,
don't know.
you gotta. I was gonna say like what's yeah. I think for sure you whether you're allowed to say like afterwards, but I think you definitely gotta confirm with Lee to see if that's the case because I did think it was a really cool theory, and I was like didn't even think of that, but
Me either. Didn't even think of that, but I absolutely love the dedication of these people that are like willing to do that research and think. And honestly, I did not think my part was very big at all. I remember talking to Jeremy and I was like, yeah, I don't, maybe it wasn't Jeremy, but I was like, yeah, my part's not very big. I wasn't even going to go to the premiere. I was having a lot of anxiety too because I was like, I don't want to see myself on screen naked, and I was
yeah,
scared. But then I ended up going, and my first, I was laced through the movie a lot more than I thought I would be, surprisingly so, in like a beautiful way. And I'm so grateful and just so grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah, no, you had a pretty, I was gonna say, like, you had a pretty good size, role like in the film, and I thought that they used you, and whenever you did pop up, you were definitely like a standout character. So I
That's
think,
like a comic relief, right?
yeah,
Wasn't it? It
yeah,
kind of the whole movie's kind of funny though.
yeah,
That's what I love about this film is that it's kind of got that Stranger Things vibe where it's super intense and scary, but it's funny.
yeah. No, it has that cheese to it, but in a good way, like that good '80s campy like cheese like feel.
Yeah, campy.
Yep, exactly. So like I loved your one line when you said like, yeah, we're just gonna go out there and do our best. Just the way that you delivered that, I thought was hilarious. But
I love Kurt too. It's so great juxtaposed. Joan, in contrast to Kurt, is so awesome.
yeah,
Like,
oh, both your characters, when you were guys were kind of bouncing off each other, giving your guys speeches to the two different camps. I thought that whole scene was really funny.
yeah, I think Michael's so talented, and I really hope I get to work with him again. I really hope that I just get to work with all these people again. I've never been on a set where everyone was super, super nice and super, super talented. It was awesome.
Yeah, and I think you can like tell too, because like I said, just like watching it as a fan, watching all of the films, you can you just get that vibe that it seems like it was a lot of fun to make these movies. And I feel like if that wasn't the case, like it wouldn't come off that way. So I think just like watching it, you're like, man, I wish that I was like almost there. This seems like it was a blast.
Aw,
So
that's such a great compliment. I
yeah,
hope I hope everyone gets to see this because it's such a great compliment to get. It's great.
yeah, no, and now as far as because I believe I saw that you have like some upcoming projects and stuff like that that are coming up. Where can fans catch you next? And is there anything else that you just want to say to the fans like out there?
Um, I have one funny thing I wanted to say before because I thought of it while you were talking. I was like, I should say this because it's funny. I
Yeah.
actually missed my nude scene because I was going to the bathroom and I haven't seen it.
Well, so you ended up, yeah, so you ended up going to the premiere, and like obviously understandably you were worried about it, but you ended up missing it.
I ended up missing it on accident because I had gone to the bathroom and I came back and Katie, my friend, was like, "You missed it," and I was like, "Oops,
That's
my
funny.
bad." But
Well,
I haven't, yeah. So, but
no,
that's funny. And then I have a movie coming out that I'm super excited about. We don't know the details yet. It's still in post, which hopefully won't be too much longer. But it's a film directed by Nick Lyon, um, and with Eric Roberts is in it, who and my friend Rob Riordan and Sarah Hennessy, and I get to play a meth addict.
oh, that's cool.
So it's gonna be sick. And we filmed it in Virginia last year, and we're like trailer park kids. It's very we have accents, Virginia accents, and it's nothing like I've ever done before on film. So
Awesome.
I'm really excited to have it come out after Joan, which is a very different character, obviously.
Yeah.
She's so sweet, but that's about it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely so that's exciting. So yeah, don't have like a date for that, but that's something for you guys to keep an eye on for sure. And as
Yes.
far as social media, you can follow her like on Instagram. I'm not sure if there's anywhere else that fans can also like follow you at or.
That's pretty much my only social media. I sometimes go on Twitter, but not really. Um, yeah, so Instagram is great. And I like to respond to people and I try to, there's a lot and I love it so much. And honestly, I would love to meet every single one of the people who like this and talk to them like Pat. So maybe one day, you never know. But
Yeah,
thank you for, yeah, supporting my artistic journey. It's a blessing.
no, you never know. Especially, I actually just saw she's been in actually all three of the films, but Jordan Di Natale, she and I believe a couple other people, they just announced like they're going to be doing. I'm not sure the exact dates and stuff, but horror conventions. I think that would be like if you got a chance to do that. Those are really fun. I don't know if you've ever been to anything like that
I
before.
am not even heard of it. I've only heard of Comic Con. Is it kind of like that for
Yeah,
horror?
Yep, yeah, basically just for like horror fans. So you get to meet like a lot of the fans. So I think you would probably have a lot of fun at something like that. So hopefully maybe, you get to do something like that down the road if you'd be, like interested in it.
Yeah, I would be really interested to do something with Tim Burton. I don't know if he counts as horror, but I was just looking at your shirt and it reminded me of Nightmare Before Christmas for some reason. I guess it's just the pumpkins.
Oh,
But
yeah, yeah, Jack.
what is that a shirt specifically from something?
So no, this is from Halloween 3, Season of the
Ah,
Witch. So yeah,
hey,
I'm a big
big
Halloween
horror dude. What's your favorite?
favorite horror movie.
Yeah.
Oh man, tough. I'll list a couple just because I don't think I could pick like one.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's a shitty question. It's
No,
like,
no, not at all. No,
okay.
Scream, Scream's definitely like up there. I've seen that movie so many times. The original Halloween, Trick or Treat, and then I would probably say Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead's probably like up there, like too.
Okay. Haven't even seen Pumpkinhead.
Oh, it's like an '80s like horror movie.
Okay.
If you get a chance, watch it. It has a really cool like monster like in it, like a creature,
Mhm.
and it has like a really interesting like backstory like behind it. So if you ever get a chance, check out Pumpkinhead. I think you'll like it. It's not something that's like super scary. It actually is kind of sad like a little bit too because there's like a backstory like behind it. So you got a
I
chance.
like backstory ones.
Yeah, so if you get a chance, check that out. I think you'll like it. But yeah,
Cool.
thank you again, Jacqui, so much for coming on the show today. It was a lot of fun, just getting to talk all things, Fear Street with you. Your character again was great, in Fear Street Part Two. So it was a blast. Appreciate you. I'm sure you're very busy, so I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule and coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Pat. It means like the best. This is like the start of my career. I'm like a budding little flower and I'm just budding out of the ground and have a lot of projects coming. And it means so much that I have someone like you to like reach out and like see something in me to like want to take the time to sit down and talk about art because it's such a rare thing that we get to do in our lives that are filled with a bunch of uh, annoying stuff of capitalism. I don't even know. I'm
Yeah.
not even making sense, but thank you.
I know what you're saying though, but yeah, no, I mean I love doing this stuff, especially getting to share your guys, stories as like actors, actresses, and just getting kind of I love hearing the behind the scenes stuff and things like that. So yeah, you are definitely welcome back, anytime on the show, like for sure. So feel free to come back. And again, it was a blast having you on.
Thank you. And I hope that I answered everything well. I hope I didn't say anything stupid.
No, no, you were a lot of fun to talk to. So I appreciate all of your answers and some of the stories that you gave, like as well.
Yeah, you're the first ones here. I have two more interviews, but you're going to be the first one that got all the juicy stories.
Yes, thank you,
Uh,
thank
Hi guys, what's up? It's Jacqui Vena. I play Joan from Fear Street. I'm here on Pop Culture with Pat. And remember, shady ciders always do it better.